That'd be awesome. I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Somebody just crank
So
somebody in the jaw.
just like
Hey.
start fighting with each other like on the camera.
Who's gonna do it? You or me? You or me? Huh?
Combo sucks.
One more beer in that old fashioned. I break him.
And just smash a beer on his face and
break
shotgun it off his
I
head.
will break you.
Oh,
If he dies, he dies.
You gotta pull the Mortal Kombat move. Your brother's soul is mine. Like what? What happened here?
Well, this went sideways.
okay. This is the best introduction to the Stormwater Creek podcast we've ever had. A Mortal Kombat reference within.
Welcome back to the Mortal Kombat podcast,
We've switched themes.
starring fucking Johnny Cage over here with his tiny shorts.
We've actually, so if you're listening to this, we've decided to change directions from a hunting and fishing podcast to a straight up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week Mortal Kombat
Strictly
podcast.
Mortal Kombat conversations.
Nothing but Mortal Kombat content.
You want to learn combos, fatalities?
Yeah.
This is your source.
Forward, back,
Join
up,
us.
down, select, start.
Check out our
ABC.
website at GeoCities.
GeoCities.
GeoCities / $$
So
35601.
Can we be
GeoCities
done
is
with
too
this?
old to have hashtags.
Does anybody like? So you guys are
Pound sign.
So just so you guys know, we're sitting down with David and Joey from AZ Longtails. So are you guys, when we say GeoCities, do you know what we're talking about?
GeoCities?
Yeah.
That's an area. No.
No idea what GeoCities is.
So-
Okay, that means that you are not old enough to know the internet from its very
Back when
creation
Bob
days.
Dole had just invented the internet.
I'm Bob Dole.
I got
So,
it.
no, that's a
All
joke.
right,
But
now I
there-
can't
there
make
was
any
a-
He-Man
There
jokes.
was a web hosting platform called GeoCities, and it was free, and if it wasn't free, it was cheap.
It was free.
It was free for sure.
This is back when
100% free.
Netscape ran the internet.
Everybody
Yeah.
had a GeoCities website that was just garbage. I mean, it was
Oh,
made. It
yeah.
was made in Microsoft Paint.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was. This was long before. Okay, remember when MySpace started and you could add backgrounds and all the music and all this other garbage?
Friends, bro.
For sure.
Yeah.
So this was before that. So imagine
Yeah.
MySpace being shittier.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
way shit.
That was GeoCities.
Yeah. Do yourselves a favor if you're listening to this and you're like David and Joey and go, what the hell are these old men talking about?
Back in my day,
Back
we
in
used
my
to
day.
have to type in the HTTP.
Yeah, exactly. Go check out, if you Google GeoCities websites,
Yeah.
you will
You
see
can
what
find
we're
something.
talking about.
Totally find
and you'll be like,
something.
oh my god, that is hot garbage. So
Garbage.
Well, now that we got that intro out of the way, welcome back to the Stormwater Creek podcast.
we've already done this.
No, we
No, we
just had a
haven't.
full intro about
You introed
BS
as
and Mortal
as a
Kombat and
Mortal
GeoCities.
Kombat. Yeah.
Everybody knows that this is the Stormwater Creek podcast.
They do now? You're welcome.
Thanks, Jared.
Proceed.
Oh, you're right. Episode 139, they figured it out.
I've got chanclas on right now, dude. You better watch your shit.
He does have
And
chocolates.
look, man, I don't want to mess with anybody whose parents gave them bread and water as punishment one time.
Why do you think I'm so angry? Why do you think I'm so angry?
So,
Oh, that's good.
like I said, we're here
First
with...
question to start this off, actually. We talked about punishments as a
Okay.
child. I talked about some of the things that got me straight. One punishment I got is my parents took everything away from me. I just had a mattress in my bedroom. But the other one that they think is hilarious, that I guess tops it, is I got grounded once and they just fed me bread and water for a week. So, what's the worst punishment you got for being a shithead?
I've had the bread and water punishment, actually.
You
See?
have?
Oh, yeah.
All
See,
right.
it's not
Decent.
It's not
Yours
absurd.
are real loud, I think. Or is it my ears?
Oh, that's a pretty good boy.
Yeah.
I mean,
I can't think. Unfortunately, I can't say
Nothing crazy.
you had to have gotten like an ass beating
Was
or
it just
something,
generic?
right?
You got the belt or something?
Oh yeah, well definitely the belt,
Oh,
but it's
yeah.
like everybody gets that.
Yeah,
For
I mean,
sure.
that's a
That was-
standard punishment.
That was normal as it should still be.
Yeah.
But we digress.
So I can't say anything. I'd say that's very unique to that. I've got the chocolate.
Okay.
That's
Yeah, the chocolate.
really-
That's standard punishment in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Yep.
The chancla.
That's pretty common here in Texas, too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But bread and water doesn't sound that bad. That's almost
I mean, hey, I had refreshments and I had food.
Yeah.
Good.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Whatever. I
I
didn't
like
know
it.
any better. I was 5 years old, man. I was sewing soccer balls in the house. I didn't know any better.
Soccer balls.
Sewing soccer balls?
Yeah, man. They got stitching on them.
I know what you're saying. You were making soccer balls because of child labor.
Jared, why don't you introduce
So who do
our
we have
guests?
today? Abe.
This is
Go ahead.
Okay, so the third time we're going to introduce them. This
No.
is David
No, we
and Joey
didn't.
from
Third
AZ
time we
Longtails.
haven't
We haven't introduced them at all.
Yes, we have.
Bush Light has wood.
We have introduced them. I'd like to everybody.
I
to
started
rewind the
talking
tape.
about Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
And then I said I can't make any He-Man jokes. Then we talked about GeoCities.
I cannot wait to prove you guys wrong.
That's fine.
That's fine.
So we are here with David and Joey for all of those who are just now counting the third time.
Can you
we'll do this.
reintroduce them real quick?
From
though?
Arizona Longtails?
AZ Longtails?
AZ Longtails, Arizona Longtails.
Welcome back to the podcast, dudes.
Yeah,
It's good
this
to have
is
you back
time
on.
Good
too.
to have y'all on as a group since Jared and I weren't present prior. It was just Abe.
Exactly.
We apologize for whatever behavior he had then.
He was probably normal because we weren't
Yeah,
around.
That's probably true.
You guys are bad examples.
They probably think the world of this guy, and then now we're on here and we're like, oh my god,
God,
you
what
have
happened?
no idea.
This guy.
What happened?
He was just drinking, water and bread, so I
Yeah.
think it was just
Yeah.
or something.
That's
Yeah,
true.
it was
That's
real
cool.
deep.
I was in the middle of a water and bread.
Oh my goodness.
I was in the middle of a water and bread punishment. It's okay.
Yeah.
So you guys have been tearing up the I think it's the Colorado River, if I remember right, or the Yuma River. Which one was it?
That is correct. All right, so to describe our location, we live in Yuma, Arizona, which is on the southwestern corner of Arizona on the border with California. The border with Arizona and California is the Colorado River. And then as well, we're right on the border with Mexico. And in that watershed, we have a lot of skinny water that travels for miles and miles and miles.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
You guys have a very active social media presence and a YouTube presence. Tons of great videos if you're looking to get into the
Build motors,
build
and
motors,
longtails,
build
and
longtails.
building boats,
Yeah.
small John boats, and mods.
It's so much fun. Which we have two of the three of us here tonight have small 12-foot John boats just like you guys. So tell us a little bit about your the rigs that you guys are running currently.
So I have 3 Jon Boat builds. So I have Arizona Span Can, which is a 10-foot Jon Boat that has a casting deck on it, trolling motor, and a 11 horsepower modified GX 200 on it.
Okay.
On a skipper custom kit. That one rips pretty good, and it's painted up like a Span Can.
That's awesome.
Love it.
Shit it and get it, dude. Hell
Exactly.
yeah.
The second build that I have is it would be my that would be the second build, but that is the tractor build. So that one I have a 420 engine with a 110 inch shaft on it, and then I have it completely camoed, and I have it with a deck with deck liner on it, and that boat's practically like invisible on the water. Except for the John Deere stickers that I have on the side. And the trailer painted up John Deere green and the wheels yellow.
Nice.
Because
Awesome.
Yuma, Arizona is a very agricultural town. So I thought it was pretty fitting to have the tractor, the boat that does work.
Absolutely.
That one probably gets the most abuse out of all 3 of the boats. And then my third boat I have is my original boat I've had since I was a teenager, which is SS Tin Can. That one I'm running something a little bit different on it. I'm running a Mudskipper Twister, which the shaft twists down into the water and it has a flexible internal shaft. And that one acts a lot like an outboard. And I have a Duramax 18 horsepower stock on that one.
Okay.
And it runs pretty good. And it runs very similar to an outboard.
All right.
What horsepower are y'all's motors?
We're the 420.
Okay.
So
That gives us some reference here.
Yeah.
So for me, so far I've built 5 boats using a combination of either the motors I've had or that I've gone with. So the first one was a 12-footer, and the material or the way it was made, it had a lot of rivets that once it started going faster, it just felt like it was gonna, not handle the weight.
Come unglued a little bit.
Yeah, it had these big ribs in the bottom, so they weren't good if you did come up on any dirt or anything. You just felt like if you hit a rock, it's just gonna tear into the hull. So that one, I decided to sell just the body alone and kept the motor.
I can't believe you sold the silver bullet.
The Silver Bullet, it had a weird paint job. It had like the blue and the mountains on the background. Trying to go like with the, when the mountain turns blue and the Coors Light, kind of imitate that.
Yeah.
It wasn't that great. Yeah,
I love those blue mountains.
River beers right there. So that was my first bow. It did great. It was pretty skinny for how long it was, and I was able to get faster than it should have gone. So I did sell that one. I got another 10-foot Jon Boat, flat bottom. That one I painted it red and made it into the radio flyer.
Yeah.
So that one gets a lot of views just by the way it looks.
That one's pretty slick, dude. Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I really like that one. I got more attached to that one than I did to the first one, just because it was built better. It can handle the speed, and just invested a little bit more on the prep work on it. I slick coated the bottom, so it has the epoxy and it's really smooth, and which is going to help for speed. The paint job was just to make sure everything was going good. I made sure they had no leaks, and I still wanted to keep the real base model option that Mudskipper has, which is it's about a $300 kit, and then it still has a Predator motor, which is just $100. It used to be $100, now it's $140 motor. So I still want to kind of keep it to the roots of being the most economic, the cheapest option you can get.
Yeah. Yet
still putting miles and time on it. And so that was my second build. The third build is a 12-foot V-hull boat, because I have a wife and a 2-year-old daughter. So I wanted something I could take my family with and feel comfortable with on.
Yeah.
So on that one, I did I also did Duramax, but I went with the 440. So I think it's just 2 horsepower more. And then, from that one, I'm modifying it out. And I went with also a Mudskipper, but the custom kit. So it's a little bit shorter shaft, but I saw a little bit more benefits that made it easier for, let's say, if my wife wanted to use it. Where I know the customs, or not the custom, but the easy kits, they're easy to handle, but sometimes you do have to muscle it a bit.
Yeah.
So after, 20 minutes or so, somebody else that doesn't know how to use it could get tired. So that's my fourth build. And then my fifth build, I bought a 12-foot flat bottom boat, and I set it up with a 2 kit from Mudskipper. And that one was more just trying to utilize my knowledge that I've gotten so far to tune it well. Put a Z-bar on it, and try to sell off the boat as a complete unit with a motor, longtail kit, and it had a full casting deck on it too, and just have something turnkey and sell it to somebody local here in Yuma. So just to promote more people seeing it.
Yeah.
The more that people see it, the more they're going to see it as a viable option as opposed to an outboard.
For sure. So how many boats do each of you own currently, based on these stories?
I own 3. He owns 2.
Nice.
So we got 5 together.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's a mini fleet.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Oh yeah, dude, you guys got the Armada going on.
You have a true Armada. We just have the 3-boat Armada, and a couple kayaks between us. So, we've embraced the longtail kit. So, we talked a little bit about, those of you who are listening know the SS Gribble, which is Austin's boat here, which is the big 1860 Go Devil with a 32 horse, right? 35 horse. And then,
you have a 35 Vanguard?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good motor.
And then Jared and I have identical boats, minus a couple
Identical
modifications.
setups. You have different modifications. Yeah, I haven't gotten down that hole just yet.
We both have 1232 Alumacraft
48s.
No, they're 32.
Are they 32s?
They're
They're
not 4
32s.
feet.
They're 32 inches on the floor.
Shit, I don't even know.
Yeah, it's a 1232 with.
Old boats my brother had. They bought them when there was the hurricane down at the coast.
Yeah.
They bought these Jon boats to go down with some trolling motors to get people out of houses and whatnot. And then they came back home and they just kind of sat for a while. So he's like, "Hey, you want these boats?" And I was like, "I sure shit do." So I took one and sold the other to Abe. And we got the same setups. We had
same motors,
same kits, everything.
The only difference between your boat and my boat right now is I have a Z-bend handle and a stand-up bar.
And cavitation plate.
And I added a cavitation plate.
Prop.
And I have an 8.5-inch prop now.
How did you feel about the cavitation plate? Do you feel any performance difference?
Oh yeah, no doubt. So one, it definitely, I felt like I picked up some speed. Second, I picked up the fact that I can run that motor now and take my hand off the tiller, and it doesn't even move.
It tracks.
It just tracks and just.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I don't. Before it's you're kind of fighting it and you're having to keep the prop down. It just sucks that prop down into the water at idle, and then at high speed it's the same thing. Right?
Do y'all run cavitation on any of your boats?
No. We have the tie props on all of our boats.
Yeah.
The mud skipper kits that come with the 3-blade prop, we converted to the tie props because they're a little bit faster.
The two or the 3-blade.
The 2 blades are faster.
Yeah, that's what I'm running.
So he was running an 8-inch prop and broke it off, and now he's about to try an 8.5 with that plate. But the idea with those plates is it pushes more rearward, but also when it gets in the water, it's wants to run flat. It doesn't want to run up or down.
Yeah.
So it keeps that prop pushing water at a downward angle.
Yeah.
Are you guys familiar with the YouTube channel Send It Jon Boats?
Yes, I am.
Yeah. He did a test with the stainless steel tie prop, and he did everything that he could with it. And he put it on a V-twin, and he put it over cinder blocks. He put it on this, that to try to break it, and he couldn't break the stainless steel prop that Mud Skipper has.
Yeah,
stainless props are great.
That's the only thing is that your prop is the shear pin.
Yeah.
But he wasn't able to break his motor though, either. Out of all the abuse that he did, he didn't shear anything off. He even tried to shoot the prop.
I mean, the big 3-blade props that Go Devil uses, and most other surface drive, big surface drive manufacturers, they're stainless, and we've hit some rocks with mine, and questionable. And I mean, you might see a nick and a scrape, but nothing.
Yeah.
I'm just
that's the only thing I like using the Thailandium props, or aluminum, is because it's like your shear pin.
Yeah, exactly.
It's easy to fix.
Yeah, swap it.
If you have one in the boat with you,
or any tools.
Any tools.
Yeah,
I
made a mistake. We had a throttle cable slip at the beginning of that run. We made a 10.5 mile run up a creek here in Dallas. And probably about 4 miles in, my throttle cable slipped, and we had to get in with what did you have? Like
Phillips head
you had tools because of your boat,
tools.
But I had no tools, and so he was able to get into my boat, fix it for me, as the resident doctor, as a resident. What do we call you? Peepaw's God Service, right?
Yeah.
Then we ran all the way up to the shallow end of the creek, hit a bunch of rocks, and we're like, time to turn around.
It was one of those things, like, prior to that, like, we were in Austin's boat, and this was, I don't know, a year or two ago. Has it been about 2 years now when we were on Roberts?
This was our second duck season with it.
So it was a year ago.
We were out on this lake. We're going to go go fish. We're going to go do some crappie fishing. And we've told the story on the podcast many times, but I will continue to tell it because I have PTSD. It was terrifying. We were just cruising.
Why don't you tell the first part of the story?
Oh, God.
Do you remember?
Yes.
How can I
It was
forget?
a long day. God. We were driving around, and finally we looked back. And
I was like, there's a squeak.
We heard a squeak for a while, and then the bearing
We cooked a hub on the trailer.
Oh.
Like I guess the cap had popped, so
off.
it slung the grease, so it overheated and cooked the hub. All right, that's not a huge deal,
Dropped
right?
the trailer.
Except we were 45 minutes in the house, which could be worse. So we dumped the trailer at this trailer business.
It was like an RV.
It was like an RV spot.
Yeah.
We went inside, like, hey man, we got a problem. Can we leave this here for a couple hours? Like, yeah, that's cool. So we ditched the trailer, hauled home, stopped at Northern Tool, bought a hub. Swap the hub, like, cool.
On the side of the road, we're
still going fishing. We're
awesome.
going.
Yeah, we're going to the lake, dude. We're going to get out of here. Launch the boat, fishing rods, everything's in the boat. Like, I'm so pumped we're going to
It was
catch
windy
crappie.
as shit.
It was choppy.
Stupid windy.
white caps. And So we're like kind of hugging the bank, not really, we're just kind of cruising along. I mean, you
barely over idle.
I was going to say,
we wanted to chug around throughout this bay. We were going to go to skinny water, and we were planning to fish for carp and bow fish for carp that day. That was our only. We were just going to kind of mess around all day.
I'm sitting in the middle bench facing Austin, and he's captain of the boat. Jordan's up in the front, and out of nowhere, I fly from the middle bench to the front of the boat, and we immediately stopped. And we hit a piece of square
2-inch
steel.
square tube steel.
Oh, wow.
It tore a 6-7 inch gash in that Go Devil hole, which are thick.
Oh, those holes are thick.
Yeah.
So
it put
as soon as we saw water rushing in, it was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This is terrifying.
So it was underwater, and like I said, we weren't being dumb. We just kind of chugging around this bay, and I guess it was hidden under the chop, and it just bang set us down on it, and it was as it kind of tossed us around a little bit. I was like, that's not a stump. I've hit 100 stumps. And then water started. We could see water coming in the floor, coming back toward the bilge. And we were 20 feet from shore, so I was hammered it up on the bank, right? And we start looking like,
shit.
Yeah, this is not like,
right.
Hey, we can keep going.
Yeah.
We need to go back. We
Water's
need to get the boat out of
This
the
is
water
clearly
right
God
now.
saying stop.
How did you guys recover? Did you guys just come back and patch it, or what did you guys do?
Well, we got out. We ended up hauling ass back to the boat launch. We pulled the boat up. Some Jerry Garcia looking dude was
and the game warden was there.
The game warden was there.
Helped us pull.
We pulled the boat up. We got as much gear out of the boat as we could, and then I backed the trailer up, and he just ripped.
I got out. We pulled the plug, and Jordan and I would lift, just get the water level in the boat above water level in the lake, and kind of lift up. We were standing waist, tit deep actually in the lake, like picking up. Got all the water out we could, and I said, Jared, put the trailer in the water. And then everybody else, shoved me off, and I just ripped it, to kind of try to keep high on plane, and got back on the trailer, and we got out of the water, and 7 inch gash, and then took it to an aluminum welder, and he put a patch on it, and it's fine.
So that's that story. So I have PTSD about hitting shit in the boat now.
Yeah.
And so this last trip we went out, when he took his boat out, and we got all the way, where we wanted to go, and we were hitting rocks, and
when we came in hot, planed up.
Oh man.
And then we hit a rock, and Abe was behind us, and we said, "Don't turn around. We're good. We made it." There's a highway crossing. It was kind of a goal. Like, let's see if we can make it to this highway.
It wasn't like turn around. We made it. It was like, don't come over
Cut
here.
it,
There's
cut it,
shit
cut
in
it,
the water.
cut it, cut it,
like,
cut
get
it.
out of here, dude.
And I had heard it like as I was coming up to it, I had heard that and was like, what is going on? What is up there?
Was this your guys' live feed from the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
We cut the live feed off, and then
We're like,
shit happened.
I was watching it, but I was at the fire department, and I was watching you guys go mob and everything, and I got kicked out to a call, and I was like, man.
Yeah.
And then when I tuned in again, you were running with no prop on the rear, and he was towing you on the side, trying to capsize you.
That took forever.
Yeah.
Austin's watch, we both have Garmin watches, and they keep track of heart rate, and I never did check mine, but it was like, I'm sure our heart rate skyrocketed, because as soon as we got to that area, I was like, this ain't good. What if he loses the prop? What if we get a hole in the boat? Oh, dude, what are we going to do? And then Abe been following us for a while, and after we went around a couple curves, I was like, Abe's not showing back up right now. We should turn around real quick. And then we just see him, just try to paddle a little bit.
I had my paddle
by the
just
current, what the hell happened here?
I had that prop I was trying to get going again, and we also had the current ripping through there, so I was stopped, and then it was like, okay, now I got to get turned around without I lost a GoPro. It was ridiculous, because so I finally got turned around and then got the motor started back again. Which I have electric start, so it wasn't that wasn't the problem. It was just getting myself back turned around, and there was one side of the river had shallows, then the other side was deep, and then it was a reverse of that. So I kind of had to snake my way back out of this, and
it was squirrely.
I put the prop down and went in and was going, and then I just all thrust had ceased to exist. And I was like, I know exactly what this is. Sure enough, I lift that up, and I'm like, there's no prop back there. It's just a little nub. And
But you didn't just like shear like one part of it. It was like both.
no, it was gone. Yeah, it was both blades just
Gone.
completely gone.
Sheared them both.
Yeah.
So, these stories now being told, you guys, with
Gotta have some.
y'all's experience with these kits and running these Longtails, like what has anything like this happened with you guys? Have you guys had some
Surely
shit
you've broken some
experiences
props.
like
I mean, that's
we
what they're
have?
for.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't had too many negative experiences.
Not prop wise. Most are rivers are sand.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
say real
A
sandy.
lot of sand bottom
Yeah.
there.
So it's all sandy. The engine wise, I think that the last thing was the only one that actually out of the blue just didn't even want to full start. Like it just seized up. Luckily, it was like right before, like within quarter mile from where we were at, to actually hit current that it happened. Rather than it happened later in the day or where it would have been 20 miles upriver.
Yeah.
Because that was their plan that day. That I'd say that's the worst, but it happened at a good place.
Yeah.
Big serious issues. I don't know. For me, I do always try to do a lot of testing on the boat before, like short
that
trips.
is something that we do a lot of.
You mean
Yeah.
like responsible boat owners? Just send it.
What does that word mean? What does testing mean?
Oh,
Can
yeah.
you explain that?
You
to
mean
me?
just going out doing?
We do
test.
it. Yeah, we
Can
do
you
a lot
use
of
it in
what's
another
called,
sentence?
Yeah.
We definitely do a lot of like R&D, like thinking, like at the shop before we go. We kind of think of like everything that would be a fail point before we go.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to have beers at the shop and find all the fail points than get on the water and find your fail points.
Absolutely.
Oh.
Totally.
Every time before we hit the boat ramp, especially during duck season, Abe shows up and I said, Did you start your motor this morning? No. Well, we don't leave a house until the motor's warm.
All right. The thing about these motors is, like, I can tell you, like these horizontal shaft generator motors, they don't care, man. Like you have old gas in them, new gas in them, old oil.
I'm just talking in general.
Yeah.
Just in general.
I start my big motor at the house before I leave for the ramp. Like, all right, it started.
Yeah, it's 4 a.m.
Because I've got lots
Who
of
gives a
tools at
shit?
home.
Neighbors? What neighbors?
I don't. Yeah, so just something's going weird or something won't start. I got a lot of tools.
Yeah.
But if we get to the ramp and something's being weird or won't start, well, we're not hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like motors get started, warmed up a little bit, just like, all right, we're functioning.
I would say that's a pretty good fair practice.
Yeah, you can see a
Fire
leak.
up at home before you take off. And
Absolutely.
then fire up there. This is true because there are air-cooled motors. It's not like your Evinrude or two-strokes that you can't start outside the water or without the little.
Yeah,
vehicle.
exactly.
Exactly. We crank over and run them for a bit, and
Mine hasn't been
I've had
since
my
duck
throttle
season.
cable freeze plenty of times, so fill it up with WD-40, just random things, just like give it a test run. This is mostly pertinent to duck season during the summer.
Well,
it's
that's
like,
why I just told him. I was like, mine hasn't been. Mine hasn't been turned on since the end of duck season.
And I bet we could go into your garage right now and that
start
thing
right
will start right up.
Yeah, it's crazy. At the fire department that I work at, we have like a lot of old backup apparatuses that have generators on them with the same type of motors, and they'll have gas in them that's like old. I don't think they ever changed out the oil.
Yeah.
You go over there and you fire them right up, and they'll be all nasty in the first part of it, and they'll start burning clean.
Yeah.
It's amazing that these type of motors they're just like invincible, man.
I'm just a big fan of them because it's given us the ability, we have big boat, like that we refer to with Austin's boat, and then we have our small boats, which have just given us the ability to take a couple extra friends out. So we'll dump gear in our two boats, then the two of us will head out. Because I started with when I talked to you guys last time, I had the Leaky Creek, which is just a 14-foot 32 with a 7 horsepower. Now we've got the 1232 with a 16 horsepower. And, I put 90 pounds of plate weight in the front of my boat when I'm running by myself because it just doesn't help get it up on plane.
So you found that the 420 motors do just fine on the 12-footers?
Yeah, I haven't had a problem with it.
That's a common question that I get. I do a lot of bro tech support on easy longtails all the time. And I'm happy to answer any questions. You know, even if like you're not running a mud skipper kit, you're running any type of kit.
Yeah.
We have a lot of experience with them. But one of the questions is all the time is, you know, is a 420 good for a 12-footer?
It works.
I mean, yeah.
It works. It's heavy.
Even now that you've done your modifications, like this past duck season, like I threw the kit on, threw the motor on, and like...
You need more stick time.
I'm definitely not comfortable, but still, it's like, all right, cool. Hey, this is like I got out to some spots. We did some hunting, you know, like he's had more time on the boat, and he's with his modifications. Like when we were running, he was keeping up with the Go Devil pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can imagine that, especially on a 12-footer.
It was fun. I was running 12 to 15 miles an hour with that at full speed, and with, you know, me and 90 pounds in the boat and a cooler and, you know,
Bluetooth speaker,
listen to some music, you know. But
that is a common question that I get. Because we haven't put a 420 on a 12-foot flat bottom. I have one on a 14-foot flat bottom.
Yeah.
But like the 12-footers that we have, the V-holes, I mean, they'll handle the extra weight, no problem. But you could probably put a V-twin on those, and they'd do just fine in the rear.
Yeah.
The flat bottoms, the most balanced power to weight ratio that I found stock is the 301cc 8 horsepower, because it has nearly the same amount of torque as a 420, but it's still only at 55 pounds versus the 77 pounds of the 420 motor.
Yeah. Interesting.
And that one does work for a pretty cheap package, you know, like 8 horsepower Harbor Freight motor, $279, paired, you know, to a mud skipper, or 8 to 16 horsepower kit, and it pushes really well.
Yeah. I mean, we've had luck with the 12. This will be my second duck season with it, and our second duck season with those motors, and we ran them a handful of times, and I had no issues whatsoever with it. I've had, you know, another guy and all of our gear in it, and it's run just fine.
Yeah, the Duramax motors are great. Hands
Dude,
down.
it's great.
They carry the same warranty that Honda does. They do the 3-year warranty on them.
Nice.
The only beef that I have with them, and I brought it up to their engineers, is they don't sell the throttle fittings, like the throttle cable fittings.
Yep.
How did you guys do that? Because we could not find it. We stole them off of another motor. We couldn't find those pieces anywhere.
Engineer over
Here's
here.
our engineer here.
Are you talking where? So you've got your throttle, your pivot, and then where your cable,
the cable connects,
tightens down.
Correct.
I took it off and took a Dremel to it, and then put a bend in it, so it could crank down further.
I'm sure we can probably send you some pictures.
Yeah, we can get pictures, but I took it apart and ground it down so it could be tightened down further, and it's tightened down all the way to hold this cable. I want to adjust theirs a little more before duck season this year, but then put a bend in the whole thing so it can go down just a little further on one side. It was
because on most of the other brands of 420 motors, it has the throttle fitting so that you can do it from the front of the motor, and you can also do it from the side of the motor. But on the Duramax, for some reason, they don't have the fittings on them to clamp on your throttle cable.
Yeah,
and, like, I couldn't find those, like, on the internet anywhere.
You're talking to route it, or to actually
like where it actually connects to the rabbit to turtle. Yeah, where the throttle cable hooks on. That's the piece that we couldn't find anywhere, and we just ended up taking them off another motor.
Are you running a bicycle grip style throttle?
Yes.
Oh, see, we're not running a bicycle. We're not running bicycle grip throttles. We're running that kind of set it and let it go.
They're running the mud skipper throttles.
Oh, the mud skipper throttle.
So it's got the little swage on the end. So I put a 90-degree bend in that, and then we threaded that through.
Oh wow, that's some serious ingenuity.
And so when it came through, it's the cable sitting flat with the pivot, and then the swage is on the bottom, and then we ran it. Then we ran the sheath for the throttle cable outside the sheath of it through the Z-bar and all that, and fed that to where it holds onto the throttle cable sheath, and then fed the actual cable through it.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So that's how we did it.
Basically, you just leave your boat at Austin's house and you show back up and it's put together.
I
Yeah.
really like projects and tinkering and a little bit of ADD. So
That's exactly
it's like,
what happened with
if you
mine.
leave stuff at my house, it's just like, hey man, your stuff's done.
Abe ordered the kits, so I gave him money for it. So
Yeah.
the kit showed up. I bought the motor, and the boat was over there. And we worked on Abe's on a Thursday night for podcast night, and I left mine over there. And then I think I showed back up maybe
week
that
later.
Friday,
Oh,
because we were gonna duck hunt Saturday, and like it was put together.
I was like, hey man, I got bored. Your boat's ready.
It's done.
It's like awesome, cool.
Yeah. And I've just gotten to where I drag mine to your house every Thursday now. It just comes over to.
That's the garage.
I just
Yeah.
show up and I'm like, all right, we've got his neighbor just shows up with a glass of whiskey and he's like, what are you guys working on today? We're like, oh, we're putting in a Z-bent handle. So
yeah, that's how we handled that with the cables from Mud Skipper.
I made a video for YouTube and Instagram or IGTV on how we did our throttle setup.
I'm gonna have to look at it.
We did it from the side,
yeah.
but we had to use fittings from another motor though. So I'm hoping in the future Duromax fixes that issue and they come with the throttle fitting stocks because it's a super good motor. Like it's a legit good motor.
What do you guys?
It's a pain to run that cable,
Yeah,
but
it is a
once you
nightmare.
get it done,
I know what you're about
it's
to
good.
ask, and I want you to ask it.
How do you guys like running that bicycle grip? Because you guys do some pretty long runs, right? You'll go 10, 15, 20 miles up the river and in a one run. And with that bicycle style grip, do you feel like it's nice to have because you can slow down and speed up, or is it like for us? I just set it at full throttle and just head out.
All right. So you guys use the Mud Skipper,
Thumb, yeah,
that one.
yeah.
The front throttle. Believe it or not, I figured this out when I set up a kit for somebody. So it has a bent washer inside of it that does that.
Yes.
So
Okay.
if you wanted to have a quick release, all you have to do is take out that bent washer that's
sure.
inside of the little throttle thing.
Yeah.
And then from there, you can use it at that. But I do like the squeeze throttle.
Okay.
It's not tiring at all. And the same thing, you have that adjustability
Yeah.
on the handle itself because it has so if your cable starts stretching on you, like say when you're on the water, you can just back out.
That's true.
And then
I
you
feel
have
like
that
yours would be
fine
different
tuned
if it was
adjustability.
longer.
Yeah.
I want to put Go Devil Factory. It's a little short little throttle pivot, and I basically get 2 fingers on it, and I've got bad hands. And running half an hour or so, my hands start cramping up from holding that thing.
Especially.
I want to put a full length on it this year because once you get that full grip, it's easy.
So the secret that we've found, so if you weld in a 7/8 piece to any one of your handles, you can use any dirt bike grip that you like.
Yep, 7/8 is the key.
Yeah,
mine's like 1.1 or something. It's a weird size.
but you can weld in a piece on the end, a 7/8 piece, and you can run any universal throttle, which gives you so many options.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely. That's the best way that we found. Otherwise, if you use a 1-inch, you can use Harley parts.
Yeah.
Harley?
Yeah.
Okay.
Harley's orange bars.
Yeah.
I had
Hell yeah.
a Harley
Hell
I
yeah.
sold recently.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which is pretty cool. There's a guy, James, here in town from Portertown Bait Company. This is his shirt. He sells swim baits here in town, and he also has an automotive shop. And then he sells Harleys, with the ape hangers.
Okay.
He sells those kind. And so his Mud Skipper, what he did was he got the Mud Skipper kit. He then, out of the stock handle, made a straight pipe exhaust out of the handle, cut it off and welded it to the tail so that it's like way off of the tail. He then made his own Z-bar with Harley parts on it. So
Okay.
now he looks like a Mud Skipper Harley.
That's
on the
awesome.
pool, in the water.
That's
really-
sick. You're gonna have to share some
Yeah.
pictures of that
Yeah,
one.
I
That's
sent
cool.
it to Abe,
Yeah.
whoever's running the stormwater.
Yeah,
So,
it's
We all have access to it.
yeah,
Except for Jared.
it's the Bordertown Bait Company one. It has a green carpet on it.
Oh, there we go.
Let me see. Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
Fuck.
Yeah, I've been having to buy the one.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
eBay. They're about $25.
I'm sorry. What did you say you were?
1
you were-
inch.
The 1 inch
Oh,
bar.
for the 1 inch bars, or even for the Mudskipper bars, because nothing really fits on them. But I definitely like the feel. I do like to add an extra spring that springs back when you release, so it kind of gives you like that quick high to low. Or you got, if you release the throttle, it kicks back down to low idle real quick. It really helps, like if you are navigating tighter turns or anything. You don't have to be worried about kicking or picking up the prop out of the water. Just let it go and go to idle. You can steer, you can reposition, and then throttle it back up. So for the Mudskipper handles, I've been having to just go with the disc grinder and kind of get rid of some material just so those could barely clamp on. So it's doable where you could just massage them on, and I had been going with the 1 inch Harley style. But yeah, ideally, if you do cut and put 7/8 one, you have to. I'm trying to think what's the benefit. 'Cause I do like the ball that's at the end.
Yeah.
The Mudskipper. It gives you that good grip where you won't slide out.
Mhm.
But also if you are able to put a rubber grip at the end, it's going to also give you that additional grip.
So,
And-
go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Finish.
Oh no, I'm just going to say, and over here in Arizona, it's just hot. So anything black and steel is not
Not ideal. Yeah.
handled.
Yeah, he found out a pretty awesome grip that you can use, and it works really, really well, and it's almost available anywhere. He used grip tape from tennis rackets.
Okay. Yep.
Tennis racket, or baseball. It's baseball, right?
Baseball bat grip tape. Okay.
Yeah, I've used that on everything that I have that's metal that you grab onto, pretty
That's
much.
a great idea.
That is. Yeah.
And so my grab bar on my boat, I have an American flag one on that grip tape. And then for the handle though, on the tractor boat, I made a paracord handle.
Okay.
That one was the one that I did different, but it works pretty well.
Yeah. For your Z-bent handle, I bought mine. Have you cut it so? If you imagine the Z has one bar that goes left to right for everybody listening, right? So the bar that goes left to right, and then you have the kind of not vertical but diagonal, and then you got another horizontal. If you imagine that Z style handle, are you cutting yours so that it's shorter in height, or are you just leaving it the way that Mudskipper sends it?
So I used to have a tube bender, and I made my own Z-bar when I first had my first boat.
That was a Silver Bullet, right? Because I've seen,
Yeah,
I saw that
Bullet.
video. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was able to make it, to the length and height I wanted. Before that, I didn't have purchased the one from Mudskipper, because at the price isn't bad. Shipping kind of almost doubles the price.
Yeah.
But I didn't buy that one because I can make one my own for myself. Now we did purchase two.
Yeah.
It was about a month ago, and once we received them, they're fairly long.
Yeah,
once I saw them, they stick out far and they're pretty tall.
Yeah.
And there is a limitation when you're bending tube. You can't really go exact 90. It has to gradually go 90, and then if you're going to do another 90, it's another, eats up height and length. So I could see where it would be hard to replicate something, that's, one size fits all.
Yeah.
If on my radio flyer, I didn't bend that one, I actually just cut it and welded.
Yep.
And when you cut and weld, you could actually do a straight 90 degree up, a straight 90 degree to the left or right. And if you do see the Instagram post on it, it's pretty much just really square. And I was able to do a 2-inch kick up, 2-inch kick to the 6 inches to the right. So I'm sitting right in the center of the boat, and the handle's right on my right side.
Yeah.
So it's not like it's offset it's offset for me the way I wanted it to be, which would I would not be able to do that if I were to bend a tube.
Yeah.
Just because it consumes so much tube to actually by the time I bend 90 degrees, I have to go 6 inches forward. On this one, I was able to go bend 90 degrees just 1 inch forward.
Okay.
So it's kind of one of those fabrication issues.
Yeah, so he basically found out that tube bending for the handles is the least efficient means,
Yeah.
tube-wise, of
Cut and weld.
What he built on the radio flyer, we call it the 3D handle. So because it has 3 dimensions to it, and he's able to run his motor on the back of radio flyer as far back as it will go. It's all the way off to the back of the boat. And so it has that extra tail weight, and it's also pushed back farther. I can tell you from driving it, it drives like a dream that way. It stays planted in the water. Before you added the extra weight in the trolling motor, I was doing 20 miles an hour all day long.
Wow.
On a stock Predator 212, not upgraded. Right now he has the stage 1 on it, but he's still tuning it to figure it out.
Dude.
That's you.
So, what was I gonna ask? When you were talking about that, so you're a right hand. You steer with your right.
Yeah,
Interesting. Okay.
I don't know if it's because when you first get the kit, it has a straight bar. It's somewhat short.
Yeah.
And you have to, put weight on it. You have to really fight it, or not fight it, but maintain weight on it to, be ready to push it out of the water if you need to slow down. When I first had it set up, I had to set up, with the mount fully forward. So to actually get speed, you have to actually crank it up, or dig it into the water to actually get power to go fast. So it seemed like you were having to either be ready to have strength to push it down, or pull it in to go fast. So you wanted to use your dominant hand. So from that, I kind of got used to using the right side.
That's exactly what I
never had a
had
boat
too,
before.
Okay.
When I bought my 12-foot B-hole, it had an outboard, which I rebuilt and got it running great. But that's left-handed, so it was kind of like funky for me having it on the left, which I imagine everybody that had an outboard is used to the left-hand kind of drive. That outboard did great. I was pretty happy with it. But I know, like right now at the lower river in the Colorado, it's only about, some sections are only like less than 2 feet deep. That you don't feel comfortable taking that type of motor out.
Sure, absolutely.
It's not if, it's when you're going to rip the lower unit of it out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If you rip off a lower unit, that's $1,000 problem.
Yeah, totally.
So, in going into a cost analysis, so let's say your 420, altogether is probably $825, right?
No.
I don't even think it was that much.
I think it's about $700.
Yeah.
I think it's about $700.
$700. That was with the Longtail and the motor.
No,
we spent.
it was less than that.
We
It was
got
less than that.
We got that motor for $350, I think, from Home Depot, and then we bought the Longtail kit from Mud Skipper, and
$600.
yeah, $600.
I know I still got the receipt. It was $300 for that.
the
I
motor.
remember. Yeah, when you sent me, you're what's the best 16 horsepower I could get?
Yeah.
And that was what I recommended to you.
Dude, it's been great.
Yeah,
Great.
like $700, maybe not even that much total.
Yeah,
They're cheaper than the Predator 420s, and they have a 3-year warranty. And they're 50 state approved as long as you don't start messing around with them. But he's already messed them up.
we're gonna talk about
That's
that.
a whole
next.
other story.
We're gonna talk about that next.
But I've made it better
Yeah, he made it better.
so far.
So, but all right. But to put that into a cost analysis, okay, you have a Jon Boat, that you picked up from Craigslist, OfferUp, Facebook Marketplace, and if you go to buy a new outboard today, how much do you think a new outboard comparably a 10 horsepower is going to cost you?
You're stupid.
Oh, I ended up looking at I looked at
minimum
a little
1,000.
Mercury or something, and I think
Merc 10?
and it
Maybe
wasn't even a
12.
10. I think it was like a
7,
7.5 or
6,
something,
5,
or
yeah,
7.
something like that.
It was
3-4
tiny, but it was about $2,000.
Yeah.
So a 10,
So,
you're getting a 5 or 6.
New motors nowadays are $2,000 to $2,700.
Yeah.
Jesus.
I did a post about it that you can buy 3 of these kits for the price of one or 3 complete motor sets for the price of one of these kits. Not only that, you can go anywhere.
That's why we do it.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't see any reason, like, after using this kit, like, I will never go back to the outboard life. I see, like, outboards have, like, their purpose and everything else, but in terms of maintenance, joy in life, of being able to have something reliable on the water each time. My stepdad, he bought a Taihatsu 9.9 horsepower, and he was telling me, like, all the break-in periods that he has to do on, like, this motor. And it's, like, outrageous. You have to run it at quarter funnel at this speed, like, this many hours at half speed, this many hours at 3/4 speed. Otherwise, you void your warranty on the Taihatsu.
Yeah, we didn't do that shit. I think we just cranked them on and then we put them
back
in the water.
Into the water and go.
That's it. And that's the same thing, like, with the Honda clone motors. They don't tell you that. It's made for power equipment. They just say throw some gas in it, oil.
Yeah.
As long as you don't modify it, you still got your warranty,
Yeah.
Like, and, like, you really can't beat, $700 and you have something that produces 16 horsepower, makes more torque than an outboard, and like, you're out on the water.
Well, I mean, like I said, man, for us, we started this journey because, we were walking in everywhere we were going to duck hunt. And then we were like, cool. We all collected kayaks, and so we started kayaking into duck hunt, and it was just too much of a pain in the ass to we were already getting up early enough, let alone getting up early enough to paddle out someplace.
I think it's
and
just
it just
a natural
opened up
progression.
exactly.
I mean, it's a natural progression. You get older, you get wiser, you research things. I mean, you guys are fishermen, which we are too. We're talking about duck hunting a lot because that's mainly what we use these boats for. We also fish out of the boats too. You know, I don't want to. We're not trying to piss on fishing. No, fishing's still the jam.
You know what's awesome about that big old long tail?
What's that?
Shallow water anchor.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Let that thing drop down into the water.
It could be a curse, though.
But I mean, we really have enjoyed the fact that we have, in these little boats, because we're all talking about. I mean, for the 4 of us that are running kind of the quote tiny boats. I mean, the biggest boat we have is 14 foot, and so. We're running 14 and 32s. You guys are running 32 inch, 48. Like, what's the widest boat you run?
I guess our V holes would be the widest ones in the rear, because my 14 footer is a 1432.
Yeah.
So that one's pretty narrow.
Yeah, they're narrow boats, that's for sure. And I'll tell you,
40, I think.
Wide, they're 32 inches. I promise you.
But your Leaky Creek was thinner.
No, it wasn't.
Creek was smaller than the boat you have now.
Yes, it was.
I know that because we talked about this a bunch whenever I sold you the boat.
100%.
I measured both boats at the back of the boat. On the bottom, they're both 32 inches.
Yeah, that's where they're measured at.
Yeah.
So, like, when you have 1436, that means that at the bottom of the transom, it's 36 inches across.
Yeah.
But that V in the front can vary. So I guess that's considered like I think it's called the beam length. I could be wrong. Yes. But yeah, your beam length can vary. But the actual size that touches the water is what's the size of the Jon Boat.
Yeah.
And how they're measured.
We're running 1232s. I ran a 1432. It's exactly the same width. It's just the difference is the Alumacraft that we're running is much better built. And it just that's it. I was running I bought, so like when we were like, we should buy a Jon Boat, and I was like, I'm going to buy one off Craigslist, or Facebook Marketplace, right? And I found one that a guy had that looked, it was like a steal, $300. And I bought it, and it actually got its name, the Leaky Creek. It was a steal. You got what you paid for.
Shit, you got to tell them about what you saw at a Grapevine, though.
Okay, so when I talked to you guys the last time, I was running the 1432 Jon Boat with a 7 horsepower mud skipper motor on it, and was digging that boat. Built my own custom stand-up bar out of. I did it out of the same thing I used to build up my.
I love his face.
The gas, like water pipe, right?
Austin's about to have an injury.
I built this custom like stand-up bar for it. Nothing nice like you guys
the word
did, right?
Custom is an interesting word.
I mean, it was
Everything
custom.
He does is custom.
It
man.
was
That's one of a
custom,
kind,
bro.
dude.
Yeah, don't. I don't throw rocks at you down when you're mowing yards.
Those push poles that he made the other
No,
day.
they're not push poles. They're
That's what you
stakeout.
said in the
No, I
fucking
did not. I
message.
said stakeout poles.
You said push pole.
Oh, maybe I did. I don't know. So, anyways, I had that boat, and I was like, I'm looking for something, different. And so he was like, hey man, my brother's selling both of these boats. Like, they're great boats. We should just jump on these, and I'll sell it to you like dirt cheap. So I was like, cool. I'm gonna sell.
Push pole.
You're right. I did say push pole. That has nothing to do with this conversation. Everybody, this is just a sidetrack for any of you who have listened to us for more than one episode. You know how that works. So I sold the Leaky Creek, and I'd put that motor on there, and I'd paid like, I don't know, $500 for the whole setup. I paid $300 for the boat, and I sold it for like $1,100. Yeah, so I was like, yeah, with no trailer, by the way, just by itself, which is great. So then I took that money and rolled it into the 16 horsepower and the 12 foot, and have been rocking it and loving it. So we show up one morning at a boat ramp.
It's like a weekday hunt. I think
Yeah. This is like a Thursday.
Who knows?
It was a weekday, right? We show up, we get in the water, we go out and we hunt. I guess like 9:30 to like 10:30, we start packing up, come back.
We'd seen these guys before, and they had a modded motor because you could hear them
Yeah.
running. Just brrr, they'd come out of the creek channel. I was like, man, they've worked on that motor.
Yeah.
That's cool. And you could tell it was Jon Boat with a Longtail.
Yep.
So we'd seen these guys, but we'd never seen them at the ramp.
And
now
we'd never seen the boat like close up, right? So then we get back to the boat ramp, and he's going to get the truck. I'm in his boat, and I'm holding the boat at the boat ramp, and he starts talking to these guys like 200 yards, 100 yards from where I'm standing, and he's like, oh man, this is y'all's boat? And he's like, yeah man, we bought it off Craigslist, it's great. He's like, oh, that's cool man, I'm running that one down there, typical boat ramp stuff. And he's like, yeah, we just bought it from this guy, and like he was like, I think that's this guy's old boat. So I'm like, holy shit, it's the Leaky Creek.
He goes, that is my boat.
That's my boat. You guys have my boat.
It was real funny.
Yeah, so it was cool to see a boat that I had made and brought into the world, if you will. You guys are familiar with that, and then sold off, and then ran into randomly at a boat ramp.
These kids did some.
They did some work.
Oh my god,
they tacked on a big piece of aluminum on the front on the nose up.
I think it was like
underplane.
diamond plated steel.
No, it was aluminum.
Was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they done it right.
Diamond-plated steel.
They did it right. So just so they could hit stuff and be that's where most of the force is taken, as you well know. So they've done that. They've modded that motor. They put a stage 1 at least on that motor.
Exhaust. Yeah. No. I guess exhaust and the air filter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's stage 1. Sorry, engineer dad. My bad.
So,
thank everybody for joining us today.
They got after it. So it was cool.
I think they reinforced the whole, like, they built like a whole like stabilizing kit between the transom and the back bunk.
Did they?
They had done a lot of work on it.
Good
for
on
sure.
'em. I mean, yeah, that's
Got them out to hunt.
It's one of those random little. I mean, well, it's also too. I mean, that was a specific kind of setup you had on that boat.
Yeah.
And so like you were bound, I think, especially in North Texas, to run into someone using that boat eventually.
Yeah, no doubt.
Because it's in North Texas, a duck hunter's going to run that boat.
Yeah,
You're not going to find some guy who's going to be fishing, going to be out in a bass boat or a pontoon or a kayak or something,
Totally.
Or like these other dudes we saw the other day, the old timer with that old Honda
V-hole.
outboard. Yeah, dude.
V-hole.
I've seen him a lot.
Yeah, he's always down there.
Good on him, man.
You guys are in the Dallas area, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I flew into the airport the other, about a month ago. I went to Atlanta, Georgia for my great-grandmother's 102nd birthday.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And I flew over Dallas, and I had a window seat, and I was looking over Dallas. I could not believe how much water you guys have.
Dude, yeah, there's a
You
lot.
can pick a creek and dump a boat in it somewhere.
Yeah.
All you see from the air is nothing but veins of water in every direction.
You see, that's the thing is you're seeing all the big stuff too. You're not seeing all the small little ponds.
Squirrely
'Cause
stuff.
I talk
That's what I was
Because
looking
you get
at.
tree
all the
growth
small-
over it. And
Well, we talk. I'm in a. I guess I don't have the bug this year. I haven't been fishing much at all this year. But prior, like last year, during really what I consider my fishing season, in years prior, I'm fishing. I'm in the city, so I'm finding local little ponds to go to and fish that are like, the one pond where I got a 5.5 pound bass out of this pond. I call it my dirty ghetto pond, but they're monster fish in this pond. And Google reminds me on pictures, it's like, oh, last year you caught like a 5 pounder out of here. I was like, oh yeah. That's there, as well as there's plenty of lakes and creeks and reservoirs to go to.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I want to come out to Texas at some point and go do all that.
man, y'all got the invite. You say when?
Yeah.
Like we can go run around.
From what I saw from the sky view of Dallas, that was pretty awesome. In terms of small creekage, there's a lot of that out
There's
there.
a lot of small creekage, but there's a lot of stumps and a lot of rocks.
I've lived here my whole life, and trying to really take the backseat view of it. If you were coming here to do like some heavy fishing, like a week wouldn't do you justice with how much there is to do here.
And these big lakes, a flat bottom in them, it gets old.
I bet.
Because you get some serious chop in them.
Yeah.
You run skinny water is great. We duck hunt real heavily, and that's kind of what started this. And me buying that Go Devil and all that is running the skinny water. And we ran plenty of big water, but being able to run places like I bet we can get over there. But you find those stumps, and that's after owning this boat, I can say I don't think I can ever own an outboard because I've gotten so used to just like, yeah, let's just go over there. Like, oh God. And it's banging over stumps and, oh, that's a sandbar and stuff like that. Like, I would destroy an outboard first day out. I'll never do it.
That's how it is out here too. There's a lot of hazards like that.
Is there?
Out here especially with the sandbars and submerged old trees and everything else.
Yep.
There's a lot of that out here because everything here that is made from water is from damming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's the river, and then they dammed up, the river,
Yep.
which then took over, pieces of land, and then the pieces of land still have all the stuff that's still there. And
Okay.
that's the stuff that you run over and destroy your outboard with.
Yep.
How have y'all guys dealt with like hitting stuff with your? I mean, obviously, for the conversation of all of us, we don't care about hitting stuff with our motors. But from your boat and those skinny boats, how do you guys deal with that?
I've never had a problem. I want to say it's because it's so light, or like the rigidity is not there that it just gives.
Yeah.
Like I think maybe like with your Go Devil hull, that hull was so rigid that when you hit it, it probably tore through it instead of.
Oh,
I'm not talking about tearing
no,
through.
I mean, I've hit 100 stumps.
Yeah.
I mean, stumps, they're built, I think they use 50-52. Is
You
it?
caught a corner of that metal piece.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it was sticking out of the water like this.
But it's metal, so like steel
It was
is
steel.
aluminum.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
It was angled towards the boat.
Yeah, we hit it.
So
like,
when we
like
hit it,
hitting
it almost hit it straight on.
yeah,
pretty
we
much.
hit
Yeah.
it. We hit it like hitting a landing device at
Normandy.
Norway.
Yeah.
Normandy.
Norway.
Yes.
I'm an idiot.
That's exactly what I thought. I
Like,
was like,
it was
what
bad.
is this? Is this
Like-
World War II? What is happening?
Hitting
Yeah,
stumps and
'cause
stuff. That 50-52 aluminum, it gives. If you look at the bottom of my boat, you can see impressions in it. Where
Well,
we hit
even when
stuff.
us getting in the boat, you can kind of feel it a little bit. It'll want to.
No, there's floor. You've got a floor.
Oh, that's the flooring. That's
Yeah.
right. You have that floor on there.
It's got a floor.
What I was more talking
still
about
gives
was
anyway.
just like hitting a stump in your
He means in the
32-inch
Jon
boats.
Yeah.
Like I hit that stuff. It doesn't do anything from like a damage perspective, but I just hit it. And it's like, oh, that threw me kind of for a loop, like balance wise.
It's terrifying.
I mean,
I hit a rock shelf with my girlfriend in the 14-footer. The
Yeah.
first time I ever took her out, and I was driving, and I was like going like 18, 19 miles an hour, and I ran right into the rock shelf and just like.
Oh,
like, bounce
man.
off of it.
And that's when you got to play it cool.
she's
You're like, oh, I meant to do that. It's
I was
cool.
like, yeah.
Really, your heart rate, you're like, oh, shit.
You see any water up there? All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Nothing's back here, thank God. So,
Yeah. No, but I mean, the holes are pretty tough, you know. What I found for Jon Boats, I mean, that you can beat them up. They last for generations, man. That's why you're getting them off of Craigslist, and they're from 1972. You know,
Exactly. They stretch. They give.
as strong as like the plastic hull boats are, I don't think we're gonna see a plastic hull boat from the 70s. You know,
No
or
way.
no.
anything like that. But the aluminum holes, man, they seem to just keep cranking on forever. You just put some new rivets in, seal them back up, epoxy them on the outside. They just don't give up.
What are you talking about? Duct tape, man. Flex seal, you good.
Oh, my
Absolutely.
Flex seal.
God. Flex
Have
seal.
you guys seen the new Flex paste?
No.
No?
They came out with the new Flex paste, and they made an entire boat out
I did
of it.
see an ad for
I'm
it.
very interested in this Flex paste.
'Cause that came out-
It has like a rubbery coating. I'm wondering if you could do the whole inside of a Jon Boat with it.
Huh.
And you would have that soft rubber texture, like
Yeah.
if you did like an all white. And it says it's paintable too, so you can paint it to whatever color you want it to too. So if you made your duck boat, you could, do your whole hull that color, and then camo the inside of it.
Yeah.
And then you would have like a soft,
That'd be
like,
intense.
Sea deck.
That's
and
what
it
I'm
would
running.
it would probably keep a lot of sound down too.
Yeah.
When you step on it.
Yeah.
But I have to see like the stuff I think it's like $100 for a gallon of it.
That's
And
pretty.
I'm pretty sure I think that would cover an entire Jon Boat on the inside.
How are you guys working with like the floors of your boats? What we're thinking about doing for my boat is taking a piece of aluminum that's somewhat thick that it won't give way under my weight, and then riveting that to the supports, and then hydroturfing or sea decking over the top of that.
Are you guys familiar with Tiny Boat Nation out of
Yeah.
Lake Havasu, Arizona?
Yep, I am. I know those guys.
Like, okay, so on the SS Tin Can, I built mine like that kind of, like, I built a deck and everything with wood. But now that I've been on the Jon Boat for a while and everything like that, I kind of want to do that aluminum decking that
Yeah.
they did in framing. It's just so much different, like,
No, I know. He's been
Like,
trying to
if I-
tell me to do that
He's
forever.
like, I'm gonna coat a plywood deck. I'm like, all
yeah,
right.
I did. I mean, the plywood decks work,
Not-
know, and they last forever, but
Not when they're soaked in mud for 6 months of the year for duck hunting.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, it's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad. Like, it's
Dude, that's why you coat it in Flex Seal, bro.
It's constant mud and constant water.
Yeah.
Constant.
You rhino line it, bro.
on that note, I would not recommend doing Flex Seal on the outside ever.
Okay.
If you want your boat as slick as possible on the outside.
Do
Yeah.
you,
can do
Flex Seal's
whatever
not
Flex
slick.
Seal
You do
on
Gator
the
Glide. If
Yeah.
you do it or don't do it, it's fine.
You know Gator?
no gator.
Alright. Yeah.
Definitely the epoxy coatings
Well, that
that,
would've
are on
tickled
the
him.
outside are a game changer.
You think so?
Yeah, David's applied on his. He can tell you about them.
Yeah, it's the steel. I forgot what brand it is. It's kind of like the older one that's been most common.
Slick 2000 or something like that.
Yeah, something 2000.
There's a lot of companies that make it. There's Wetlander, Mudskipper makes their own slick coating. There's a bunch of companies that make these slick coatings for the outside of your boats. And they seal everything up, and then they make your boat slick. Like on Radio Flyer, on the Little Red Wagon boat, it's noticeably way slicker on the bottom.
You
And
feel
that
like you picked
definitely
up
helped
some-
out with speed.
Yeah, you definitely you feel like you picked up some speed from that?
Either speed or at least acceleration.
Yeah.
I don't think I did an honest like before and after on it with speed because similar to you, like anybody that kind of gets their boat, you're always modifying. You sometimes modify more than one thing at once,
Yeah.
so it's hard to say what kind of gave you more
Yeah.
benefit.
What was the thing? Yeah.
Yeah, and for tuning is always every time I went out, I'd change out like the prop at least once or twice just to see how one reacted with the other in comparison. And then, maybe the next week I did something to the motor, so I'm still changing props to see how that benefited if I did the stage 1 or I didn't have a stage 1. So far, even though I've almost had my boat, the radio flow, I have the radio flyer for over a year, I'm still tuning so much on it that, like, I'm going to buy this stuff and see how it does. Just recently I did I had the Predator 212 that was the non-Hemi on it, and that's the one I ran the most hours on. And then I bought a stage 1 that was for a Hemi style 212. So I had to buy a 212, a Hemi 212 Predator just to do that kit on it, and it did seem like it was a better motor of the two. I think I don't have any proof.
The new Predators, they're definitely better.
Yeah.
So on a note, okay, so you know how motors are getting more expensive, like you've noticed,
Definitely.
like the Predators and stuff. So what it is shipping costs from China have doubled per container.
Yeah.
Yep.
They used to be $6,000 per container, and now they're $12,000 per container. So everything that you're getting at like Harbor Freight and those kind of places,
Prices are going
the
up.
freight has doubled on the motor.
Yep.
But when they sent over this new style of Predator 212, it's better. Like, it has a better air filter. Before, it used to have just like this piece of sponge, like as an air filter. Now it actually has like a GX200 air filter inside of it.
Okay.
And the motor just looks a little bit like more solid.
Nicer, yeah.
But overall,
A theory I might have was these motors, the 212s used to be about $100. Or when they went on sale, they would be like, we can sell for $100. Maybe they were just selling off the old style, like they pull off the decent, or their better, $140 motors out, put up their old stock for that sale. It's still 212. People didn't know, they were just buying it.
Yeah.
So I think the new price of their newer motor has always been $145. But there was a time when there was a 212 for $100, which is the one I bought, thinking like, I'm coming up, but you're actually buying, last year's or the old design. So now, that's the new price for the 212, at least at the cheapest price point.
So as far as like these performance stage kits, like stage 1 kit, like did you notice when you put a stage 1 kit, like what? So just somebody listening going, I don't know what a stage 1 kit is. What is a stage 1 kit for one of these motors, and what was the performance you got out of stage 1?
So on my setup, I was already, without the stage 1, I was already reaching 20 miles per hour on the radio flyer, which was on the 10-foot Jon Boat, a flat bottom. It did have the split floating on the bottom. And the main benefit I'd say was acceleration that I noticed. You give the throttle and it didn't feel like it was falling out. It would kind of pick up the plane. You'd feel it kick up.
describe the components that you're getting in a stage 1.
Yeah.
On the stage 1, I think everything should be bolt-on so far, externally in a way, where it's the air intake filter and it has an adapter that's kind of like I guess they call it a high flow or easier flow vortex.
A phalange.
Oh yeah, it has a flange. So it's kind of like sucking air straight in rather than pulling it from the top, taking it at a degree, and then coming back through the side draft. An exhaust system that perhaps is a bit better than stock. On mine, it's pretty much straight and it just has a muffler, so at least tries to keep some back pressure. I don't like the design of it just going straight out, especially if you're going to be riding it for, when you're fishing, you're going to, you might be driving for an hour or so. That's a lot of sound, and that's gonna.
It's loud.
Real quick. Yeah, it's loud. If you're in a go-kart and you're just going around the block, no problem. But no, yeah, on your boat, it probably gets annoying. And then rejetting of the carburetor is the other bolt-on aspect. So those three things would probably make it a stage 1.
And it comes with valve springs and a timing key, right?
But that's stage 2, right? I think.
That on the mud skipper kit, it did come with that. It came with the timing
Wow.
key that kind of reset your. So I think it either advanced your timing, so it's a little bit more top dead center when the spark came on, so I can give you more power. And then the valve springs or heavier valve springs, I think also help you more. Like if you're on a go kart, sometimes you need higher RPM.
Okay.
I find that on these Longtails motors, you don't really want to go above 4,000 because when you're propping the motor out of the water and back in, you know, when you prop it out and it goes to 5,000, you bring it back in, it's going to stall out. But that's a lot of RPMs from taking back in the water.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my YouTube video on the AZ spam can. That one, I got a GX 200 that's modified from the factory, and it has like different cans and timing and everything. So it makes 11 horsepower out of the GX 200 motor, and it has a similar like power curve to like a 301cc.
Okay.
Pressure. So it has a lot of low end torque. Well, I was cruising around during winter time when I made this YouTube video, and my dumbass is trying to film with my phone instead of, like a GoPro or, like some chesty mount with my phone.
Yeah.
And I'm cruising and I'm like, man, like this motor fucking rips, man. And I'm just like going along and it kicks out of the water, bumps up to about 6,000 RPM, cuts the motor sideways and just chucks me out of the boat.
Oh, wow.
Jeez.
Jetto-cedo. And then, on top of that, my dumbass wasn't wearing the kill switch the way that you're supposed to.
Yeah.
So my boat takes off without me, drives into the shore, into the mystery mud, and just keeps digging into the thing. Even better, I'm in waders at the time, and the water is about 40 degrees. So all the water comes into my waders,
Of course.
and I have to swim in my waders, which wasn't that bad, actually. Like, I
Good
thought,
to know.
if you fall in the water with waders, like, you're gonna drown and die.
Yeah,
No.
that's what everybody says. You're gonna drown.
No,
I don't know
you're
I don't know
gonna
about
drown.
that.
It's not.
I don't
The
know.
part is when you come out of the water.
Yeah.
And you put all those gallons of water inside of
Yep.
your thing.
It's
So I'm freezing
an air
to
thing.
death because it's like 40 degrees in the water.
That's freezing.
Yeah. So I get out and my motor's still running, so I go and kill the motor, and my little AZ stand can is just buried into the mystery mud. And I have a YouTube video on it.
I like how we ask you about these kinds of questions to start off the podcast, and you wait till the end of it to
You're
tell
like,
us.
no, man, nothing
I've
crazy.
never really done anything.
No, man. I mean, we've not really had any problems.
And you told us a story. There I was. The thing chunked me out of the boat.
There is one bad experience. But that was a good day. So I get back in the boat. I have to dump out my waders. And I'm like freezing.
Of course, yeah.
Out there,
It's 40 degrees. Like, these people are used to, like, negative degrees.
No, I mean, we're not in Alaska, bro.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it got that cold there.
40 is cold.
Yeah,
That's our winter.
Is freezing. Just so
that's
clear. Right over there.
0 Celsius is freezing and 32 degrees is freezing. Right.
No, 40 degrees is when I say freezing cold, that means I'm freezing cold. Doesn't mean water turns to ice, you know?
So I get out in my boat and I have to dump out my waders.
Oh.
I have to get the boat unstuck because the boat's stuck into the mystery mud. And then I finally get everything set up and I go and I'm like, well, screw it, like I'm already cold. And I was actually amazed when I got back into my waders because I'm not used to waders. Like I was warm again.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty insulated. They're really good. And I came back and I was like, well, I might as well enjoy it. I'm already freezing my ass off anyway. So I went and drove out to this one thing, and it had rained the day before, and some people were out there. They were camping in a Honda Civic, out in the middle of nowhere.
Hell yeah!
Normally, I guess you could do that until the rains washed out the road, and you couldn't leave in your Honda Civic. And they were trapped out there, out in the middle of nowhere, no cell service, no nothing.
Oh.
That sucks.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so I was like, oh man, I was like, I'll load up my boat and I'll come back and try to find you guys on this side. I'll find the road to get back to you guys. And I ended up dragging a Honda Civic with my Tacoma out of the where they were camping at, and they were like trapped there.
Oh my god, that's crazy.
That's awesome.
That is.
I mean, good on you, dude.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
really.
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh. being in the outdoors is so much fun. You get to see so many cool things. So, but man, we really appreciate you guys being on the podcast with us again.
It's been super fun to talk to you
Exactly.
guys, man.
Yeah.
I'm actually bummed that I missed the first time hanging out with you guys.
Agreed.
I'm glad we got a chance to sit down and just chat and tell stories and hang out,
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah, I mean, if you know anybody who's getting into mud motors, regardless of what brand or anything, they can always shoot me any
100%.
messages. I answer them all the time. It doesn't.
Well, here, this is your chance here. I
Yeah,
mean, we
like-
always say this is the plug. What a
Shameless
Shameless
self-promotion.
plug. How would I find you?
What's going
So-
on?
AZ Longtails, so it's AZ _, and then long, and then TALES, like tails.
Yep.
Like Tales of the Crypt. Because we're going to be making a lot of tales over the years.
There you go. Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, people message me from all over the country. I'm so thankful for all the support that we've had from various parts of the country. Somehow, in like 1 year, we became pretty Jon Boat famous. People like us out here in the Southwest Desert for some odd reason.
You guys got a following out
Hey,
there.
man, you
for
guys
sure.
are doing it.
Yeah.
You guys
You
are
know
doing
your
it.
stuff. You've got cool boats.
Yeah.
Man, that's what it's all
That's
about.
fun.
Then
Good people,
one of the
yeah.
main hashtags that you guys or anybody can follow is boat cart. That was a hashtag that I invented. I thought was pretty cool.
It's good.
because
Yeah.
My first thought in my head when I first got one of these kits was like, man, this is so fun. This is like a go-kart on the water. I
Yeah.
was like, this is a boat cart.
No
so I
doubt.
ended up using the
Marketing.
hashtag go-kart, and it took off. It took off pretty well.
That's
If
good,
you
man.
look at that boat cart, there's a lot of our posts on it.
Yeah. That's
And
great,
then,
man.
I mean, but yeah, anytime. I mean, I'm happy to answer your questions. I mean, I firmly believe that this is the best outboard alternative you could ever run into.
Hands
It's
down.
a
No
freedom
doubt.
maker, man.
No doubt.
It's great.
No doubt whatsoever.
We love our longtail kits.
I'm
So-
personally still learning from it. I still haven't fine-tuned my boats to say that I'm an expert on them.
He's so modest. Like, whenever I have a project with anything, like, David is my adult supervision. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, I'm gonna put this together, this and that.
And we have
This-
ours too, man. We get it.
Yeah, Austin is the.
Austin
the
is David.
supervision.
David
He's
is
the adult
Austin.
supervision. If I didn't have him supervising me on shit, I would hurt myself and or kill myself.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll save the stories for the next podcast.
God.
This guy is the expert modificator.
Yeah,
He's so
Good.
humble.
It's good.
I'm like Crescent Ranch Joe. And this guy's like,
Joe's like, oh, that's gonna ruin the warranty. I'm like, forget the warranty.
Yeah, exactly. Forget it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I want to hear.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the good sound.
I'm excited. I think I talked to your boys. So you and I were messaging online about some modification stuff, and you guys use Go Sports for like a lot of your stuff.
oh, you're right next to Go Power.
They're in Keller. They're right down the road. They're 20 minutes from your house.
Who is?
Go Sports, Go Power Sports. I
Maybe,
think
yeah,
it's,
you told me that.
and so I talked to him the other day, and they're like, oh, yeah, we're about to get everything back in stock because they're sold out of Stage 1 kits right now. So we're about to put the Stage 1 kit on my boat. So
Oh.
I'm excited about it.
I didn't know this.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm not told this, but it's going to show up at my
I
house
was
to be
like-
done.
Here, I think this exhaust bolts on like this. You'd be like, give me
Hey, I
that.
bought stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good news that they're gonna get it for or at least inventory because
Yeah.
for the last month or actually 2 months they didn't have nothing or like anywhere anything available.
No, yeah, there's nothing out there right now.
So,
It's like
But
most things.
Nope.
So, well, everybody, thank you guys so much for listening. If you want to know information, you just heard where to contact the AZ guys. If you're and you're in Dallas and you want to talk to Austin, obviously you know how to reach him. We can't thank you enough for listening. Make sure you check out both of our YouTube channels. There's always some cool content going on. And if you're a first-time listener, make sure you subscribe to the podcast. We have one of these comes out once a week. So appreciate you guys listening. And
Q Braley.
Stormwater Creek is the best. Grinch, the captain. Aim, the helper. Jordan, the problem solver. I hope you like Stormwater Creek. Stormwater Creek.